There is a specific kind of internet event that happens maybe once or twice a year, if that. It's not just a song going viral. It's not just a celebrity trending. It's the moment when a single person simultaneously breaks multiple unrelated conversations at once. When the algorithm, the fans, the casual observers, and the completely uninitiated all end up in the same place at the same time, talking about the same thing, for completely different reasons. On the night of May 23rd, 2026, that person was ParkJimin. Not just in one trending category. Not just in the music lane, where you might expect a BTS member to show up. Jimin trended simultaneously in music, dance, and celebrity on X in the United States. 3 separate algorithmic categories. 3 different audiences. One night. One person. And if you're wondering how that happens, if you're wondering what combination of talent, timing, cultural momentum, and pure human electricity produces a moment like that, then stay with me. Because this story is not a short one, and it absolutely deserves to be told in full. Let's start with the night itself, because the details matter. BTS arrived in Las Vegas for the North American leg of their Arirang World Tour. 4 nights at Allegiant Stadium, May 23rd, 24th, 27th, and 28th, 65,000 seats per night. Sold out. This was BTS's first headline run as a complete group since the Permission to Dance on Stage tour in April 2022, and the city had been building toward it for weeks. Digital billboards along the Las Vegas Strip had been running welcome messages for ARMY. Fan-organized welcome parties had taken over venues near the stadium. Ad trucks covered on 3 sides with Jimin's image circulated the Strip and surrounding neighborhoods, a tradition among dedicated BTS fans in major cities that signals just how organized and serious this fan base is. The concert on May 23rd started at 8 p.m. local time. By the time Jimin took center stage during certain performance segments, the energy in Allegiant Stadium had already been building for hours. 65,000 people do not fill a stadium and sit quietly. They build heat. They create a specific kind of atmospheric pressure that performers describe as something you can physically feel, a wall of sound and emotion that pushes back against you. Jimin walked into that pressure and raised it. During Body to Body, one of the tracks from the Arirang album, he went into a freestyle dance sequence that stopped time. A double spin, clean, fast, compact, technically extraordinary, followed by a groove so deeply physical and yet so effortlessly controlled that fancam videos shot from every angle capture the same reaction from the crowd. People lost their minds. Not politely. Not in an organized fan way. The way you lose your mind when you see something you genuinely weren't prepared for. By the time the concert ended and people started getting their phones back, the tweet volume was already building. Within an hour, Jimin's was the #1 real-time trend on X in the United States. And then something unusual happened. The trending wasn't confined to one category. Music, dance, celebrity, all 3, simultaneously at the top. 3 different algorithmic engines. Picking up the same person at the same time is not an accident. It's a signal. And the signal was saying, this is not a niche event. This is a cultural moment. To understand why this happened to Jimin specifically, and not just to BTS as a whole, not just to some combination of the members, you have to understand what Jimin actually is as a performer. He is not primarily a vocalist in the way the word is typically used in K-pop. He is not primarily a dancer in the way that category is typically understood. He is something that the industry's existing vocabulary does not have a clean word for. He is a complete physical artist, someone for whom the distinction between singing and dancing and performing is not a distinction at all. For Jimin, all of it is the same act. The voice and the body are doing the same thing. They are both translating an interior emotional state into something an audience can receive. This sounds abstract. It isn't. Watch any Jimin live performance from any point in his career, and you will see it immediately. His choreography never looks like choreography. His freestyle never looks like improvisation. They look like the same thing, like a body that has been given permission to tell the truth, and is doing exactly that. The audience doesn't know what to call what they're watching. They just know it's different. The fact that Jimin's Las Vegas performance triggered trending categories in music, dance, and celebrity simultaneously was actually a perfect description of what he is. He's not one of those things. He's all 3. And the algorithm, following the behavior of millions of users in real time, told you that. ParkJimin was born in Busan in 1995. He grew up in a city that is not Seoul, which matters more than it sounds. Busan is South Korea's second largest city, known for its coastline, its heat, its emotional directness. It is not where the K-pop industry is centered. It is not where the polished, optimized version of idol training originates. Busan is rawer than that. Jimin studied contemporary dance at Busan High School of Arts before being accepted as a trainee at Big Hit Entertainment. Contemporary dance, not jazz, not hip-hop, not the synchronized group performance that defines most idol training, but the kind of dance that comes from asking your body what it knows rather than telling it what to do. The kind that starts from inside and works outward. The kind where technique is in service of expression, not the other way around. He was talented enough that Big Hit accepted him, and within 2 years, he was debuting in BTS. But the contemporary dance foundation never left. It went underground, underneath the synchronized choreography, underneath the precision of group performance, underneath everything that professional idol training requires of a body. It was always there waiting. What you saw in Las Vegas on May 23rd was that foundation surfacing. Fully, without apology, in front of 65,000 people who had been waiting years to see it. There is something that needs to be said about what BTS's military service hiatus meant for Jimin specifically, because it shaped the energy of the Las Vegas performance in ways that are not immediately obvious. Jimin completed his mandatory military service in South Korea and returned to active performing as part of the Arirang era, which began with the album release on March 20th, 2026, and the Netflix comeback concert at Gwanghwamun Square the following day. The Arirang World Tour started in April, moving through Tampa, El Paso, and Stanford Stadium before arriving in Las Vegas. For almost 2 years, Jimin was not performing on stages. He was serving. Military service in South Korea is physically demanding. It is also, in a particular way, clarifying. It strips away everything that isn't essential. It puts you in circumstances where the performance layer, the trained, polished, stage-ready version of yourself, has no application. What remains is whoever you actually are underneath all of that. Jimin came back from military service as a more complete artist because of this. The technical ability was still there. You don't lose what took years to build in 2 years of service. But something had settled in him. A quality of authority, not arrogance. Authority, the kind that comes from someone who has been through something genuinely difficult and knows exactly who they are on the other side of it. Every performance on the Arirang World Tour has shown this quality. But Las Vegas Night 1 showed it most clearly, because Las Vegas brought out the biggest energy, and Jimin matched it and exceeded it. Now let's talk about the numbers, because they are insane, and they provide context for why the internet was primed to explode over a Jimin performance in May 2026. On May 8th, 2 weeks before the Las Vegas concert, who officially reached 2.4 billion streams on Spotify. Big Hit Music confirmed it. The Korea Herald covered it. It became the first solo song by an Asian artist without a featured collaborator to reach that milestone on the platform. This is not a K-pop record. This is a global record. A song released in July 2024, without any collaboration with a Western artist, without any official promotional push during Jimin's military service, had streamed its way to 2.4 billion plays purely on listener behavior. The song has been on Spotify's Daily Top Songs global chart for 659 consecutive days since its release. 659 days. It currently sits at number 37 on Spotify's all-time most streamed songs list, the highest position ever reached by a K-pop solo track without a collaboration. On May 12th, 11 days before Las Vegas, it was confirmed that Jimin had surpassed 6.8 billion total Spotify streams across his 22 pure solo tracks. No collaborations with major Western artists included, just his own songs, more than 6.8 billion times. People chose to press play on a ParkJimin song because they wanted to, with no algorithmic amplification from a featured pop star. The first and only K-pop solo artist to reach that number through pure, unassisted solo output. On May 17th, his second album, Muse, crossed 4 billion Spotify streams, the fastest any Korean-language solo album has ever reached that milestone. Also on May 17th, BTS was officially included in the Guinness World Records icon list for 2026, joining Taylor Swift, Beyoncé, Drake, Elton John, Paul McCartney, and Dolly Parton. The first Asian act. The only musical group on a list otherwise comprised entirely of solo legends. And on May 20th, 3 days before Las Vegas, Jimin placed first in the May 2026 Idol Personal Brand Reputation Rankings published by the Korea Corporate Reputation Research Institute, which analyzed 166 million pieces of big data on 1,730 idols. His brand reputation index was 8,298,417 points. It was his 58th #1 finish in those rankings, across all categories. The 33rd time he had topped the overall individual idol rankings. No other K-pop idol comes close to those numbers. Not even close. So when 65,000 people showed up to Allegiant Stadium on May 23rd, they were not showing up for a debut. They were showing up for someone who had spent the previous 2 years accumulating records, breaking history, and returning to the stage as the most statistically dominant solo artist in K-pop. The internet was already primed. The performance was the match. Let's go deeper into what the triple trending actually means, because it's easy to read the headline and miss what it's telling you. When something trends on X, it means a high volume of unique users are posting about it in a short window of time. The category it trends in, music, dance, celebrity, is determined by the context of those posts. Posts that mention song titles, streams, charts, lyrics end up in music. Posts about choreography, movement, fan cam videos, body control go to dance. Posts about the person themselves, their appearance, their personality, their overall presence, land in celebrity. For a single performer to appear simultaneously at the top of all 3 categories means that the conversation about them was not centralized. It was not fans from one community all saying the same thing. It was different communities with different vocabularies, noticing different things, and all arriving at the same conclusion independently. This person needs to be talked about right now. The fancam community was talking about the double spin and the freestyle groove. The music community was talking about his vocal choices on Body to Body and how he layered live performance over the track. The celebrity community was talking about his blonde, braided hair. Jimin braids was itself a trending term. His presence, the way he carried the entire stadium's attention, even when the whole group was on stage. 3 audiences, 3 conversations, 1 person. And the reason one person can produce 3 conversations simultaneously is because that person is genuinely operating in multiple registers at once. Not because they're trying to, because they can't help it. Because Jimin on a stage is not performing music and also performing dance and also being a celebrity in parallel. He is doing one unified thing that those 3 categories are all incomplete descriptions of. There is a word for what Jimin does, actually. It comes from the world of contemporary performance, and it is presence. Not presence as in being in the room. Presence as in filling the room with something that other people can feel without being able to name. The French have a word for it, rayonnement, which roughly means radiation, the way a person radiates something that extends beyond their physical body. Every truly great performer has it to some degree. What makes Jimin unusual is the quality of his presence relative to the context he works in. K-pop, as a genre and an industry, does not typically optimize for presence in this sense. It optimizes for polish, for synchronization, for the kind of group energy that is genuinely extraordinary in its own right. Jimin brings that synchronized excellence. He always has, but underneath it, and increasingly unmistakably above it, there is something additional. Something that cannot be choreographed. Something that has to come from inside the person. When 65,000 people in Las Vegas all feel it at the same time, when they all independently reach for their phones because they have to tell someone, that is presence operating at full strength. That is the thing the algorithm detected. That is why the trending happened. Here's the part of the story that I think gets lost when people talk about Jimin's cultural impact in purely statistical terms: streaming records, brand reputation rankings, trending categories. The reason all of those numbers exist is because of a quality of connection that Jimin establishes with audiences. Not just ARMY, not just K-pop fans. People who walked into Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas and knew exactly who BTS was, but had never particularly focused on Jimin specifically. Those people left the concert talking about Jimin. Because performance at the level Jimin operates does not require prior knowledge. It doesn't require you to already be a fan. It requires only that you be watching. When a body moves the way Jimin's body moved in Las Vegas, when a performer inhabits a stage with that quality of complete physical and emotional authority, you don't need context to understand it. Your nervous system understands it before your brain does. You feel it before you think about it. And then you pick up your phone because you need to tell someone about the thing you just felt. This is the mechanism behind the triple trending. And it is the same mechanism behind 2.4 billion Spotify streams, and 6.8 billion pure solo streams, and 5/8 #1 rankings. The numbers are the trail left behind by millions of individual moments of that connection. As the Arirang World Tour continues, 3 more nights in Las Vegas, then into Europe, then eventually to the FIFA World Cup 2026 halftime show at MetLife Stadium in July, then through 79 shows across 34 markets until March 2027. There will be more nights like May 23rd. More moments when a Jimin performance produces a reaction that the internet's existing categories can barely contain. But May 23rd in Las Vegas holds a specific place, because it was the first time, in the full context of everything that had been building, the military service, the records, the return, the album, the world tour, that the global conversation tried to describe what Jimin is all at once. And the best it could do was music and dance and celebrity, all three, simultaneously. At number 1, it's not a complete description, but given the limitations of trending categories on a social media platform, it's the most honest one the internet has ever produced about a performer who, fundamentally, cannot be put in a single box. If this video gave you context that you didn't have before, if it helped you understand not just what happened that night but why it matters, please hit the subscribe button. This channel exists to cover Jimin and BTS with the kind of depth and accuracy that these moments deserve. Not just the numbers, but the story behind the numbers. Drop a comment telling me, what was your reaction when you saw the triple trending? Were you surprised? Were you watching it happen in real time? I read every comment, and I want to hear from the people who were there for this. Like this video if you think Jimin's Las Vegas moment deserved more serious analysis than a 30-second clip. Share it with someone who keeps asking you why you're obsessed with Jimin, because this video is a pretty good answer. And I'll see you in the next one, because Las Vegas is not over, the Arirang World Tour is not over, and if history is any indication, Jimin is not done producing moments that break the internet's ability to categorize him.